All right, so um, all right, so you have the total, you have the tip, and you have the number of persons who dined. Um, $20, yeah. I was giving you an NAN. $2, right? 11. All right, so it's working. So now it's in both. So what it did was just to add the 20 and the 2 and then divide it by the 11. And that's basically how it works right now, correct? All right, good, no problem. But if you should go now to the code, let me see what's up. All right, so note it bill, change it to an int. If the bill length is equal to 0, please enter bill. Okay. If the bill, if, so that's the first if statement. Second, oh yeah, then you say let tip bill equal, get that value, please enter tip amount, um, convert it to an int. Then you say, okay, then take the number of diners. If the diners equal length equal that, then um, please enter diner amount. And in, then you add tip plus bill, total bill plus tip. Then you say check per person. Cool. And then, all right. So in its simplest form, this is good. Let me just go back to the. Can you go back to the requirement, the user requirements that I sent over? All right. So user should be able to check, enter the bill amount, check. User should be able to enter the percentage tip. Right. So of course so what you should be able to do, or what the app should be able to do, is calculate whatever number that they put into the tip field, right? It should be a percentage of the total bill. So if the person put 2, then it would be 2% of 20, essentially, which would be what? 2 over 5. 5 says that would be 0.04%, or 0.04 cents, sorry. And then they would add that to $20, which would be, so it would be $20.04, I believe. Don't quote me on that. $20.04, and then that would be divided by 11, right? So it needs to be a percentage. That's number one. User should be able to enter the number. All right, that's fine. The app should be able to calculate the total cost of the meal, including the tip, and show how much is owed. Fine. That should be the user. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me just update this. User. Right. So the user. So the user should be able to calculate how much each person would pay based on the number of diners who dine. So in this case, go back to the web page. So if you put 1 in that, then what would be the value? It would be what, 22, right? Okay. But what if I don't put anybody in there? What would happen? But remember, so if nobody is in there, then it should default to 1. So that is something that you could add, right? So let me just add that to the user requirements. So if no value is entered, for the number of persons who dined, then The default should be 1. So that is something that you can account for in the code, right? So if I didn't enter anybody, then the assumption is that is either it's 1, right? So if the value that is taken is less than or equal to 1, if it's less than 1, it should default to 1. If it's equal to 1, then it's equal to 1. If I put 0 in there, so it should default to 1 as well, because it cannot be 0 person. That doesn't make sense. No one took the meal then. Following? Okay, cool. So that's an update that you could make. Um, what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Okay, so what if I don't enter? What if I don't enter a tip? What would happen? So remove the tip. Okay. And if I don't enter, no, if say I don't enter anything at all. All right. So if I don't enter a bill amount, it says show. So if I enter, all right. So if I don't enter a bill amount, but I enter a tip, show me what happens. But if I don't enter anything, all right. So say I enter a bill amount. So put some a number in the total and delete whatever the tip is. All right. So if I enter something, the bill amount, and don't enter anything into the tip, it's fine. If I enter something in the tip, and if I don't enter anything in the bill amount, it's fine. But if I don't enter anything at all, it still says, please enter bill amount. So the message for that needs to be different. Following? Yeah, so the messaging for that needs to be different. If I enter something in total and enter something for tip, but I don't enter anything for the diners, then that's fine. You just default to 1, and the calculation still the instructions still run. But the messaging, it goes through for all options. Are you speaking about if I enter information into all of the fields, or explain that statement for me? When you say but it goes through for all options, what does that mean? All right, so run that back again. So if I don't enter anything at all, let me. Right, but it is saying please enter. Oh, oh. So okay. So when try to do that again. Click check. Then you say okay. Oh, all right. So that's fine. That's fine. But that's kind of from a user experience perspective. So it works. It works, and the alert function runs for each field that is empty, which is good. Uh, all right, so fine. So that it works. What I would say is that, so this is the challenge now. You see those alerts, make them appear under each input field. So don't use a generic alert function, right? You now have to research how to make each message come under each input field. So this is what is called error handling, right? Where you now have to ensure that each alert comes under each input field. And you can't use the generic alert function to do that. You'd have to research how to do that. But it does work. So that is good. Um, righty. And if the user does not enter any input items, okay, cool. Okay, how much? All right, good. So this is good. This is good. So your project return to the to VS Code. Mm-mm. All right, so this is good. You could clean up the code a little bit more, um, renaming the function to check if empty. That's not necessarily the best name. You could follow the correct syntax for creating identifiers. Example, the variables. It shouldn't be all lowercase. The first word should be lowercase, and then each first letter of each of the next word should be uppercase. And you know this already. It doesn't have to all be if statements. You could have a construct, a conditional construct using if, else, if, um, else, or you could even use the switch construct to make this look better. So right now it's really just about cleaning up the function. I like that you use the no tip bill that length. I actually use a different approach, which I'll show you. But this is good. So it's basically about how can you now improve this. So let me show you. Let me show you what I did, how I approached it. Cool? Or do you have another question for me? You're typing it. Oh, you can just put the switch inside a function to call it. Yeah, you could. Right. So basically, because remember the switch approach is really the switch construct is really just as can call it a substitute for the if function, but you have to use it with some level of discretion. Um, though. But let me show you. So that could be a part of your research. How would you replace the if function with the switch construct? If it is the if construct or if statement with a switch statement, and whether or not it's even possible or the right approach to take. Um, so yeah. Any more questions, or can I just share and show you what I did? Okay, cool. All right. So let me start with the code first. Okay, are you seeing my screen? All right. So what I basically did was this, right? So seem like a lot of code, but it's really just things uh copied and paste in terms of just copying and pasting, recopying and repasting, essentially, for a lot of the stuff. So my function is called calculate tip, right? It actually should be calculate tip, but calculate total amount. So then let's rename it to calculate total amount, including tip, right? Um, and then I have my comments as usual. Amount, including tip. And let me rename the function down here, and then I'll rename it in here. Okay, no, that's it. That should be mine. All right, cool. So, all right. So, I created my function called calculate tip, right? Are you hearing me, Jordan? I just want to confirm to you here. All right. So, created my function. The first thing I want my function to do is to get the value of the bill amount that is entered by the user. I just use console log to ensure that it's returning the value that was entered. So ignore the console. So the console.log is really just for debugging purposes. Um, that's the first thing. Then I got the value of the tip as a percentage, right? Then I got the number of persons who dined. And I'm using the query selector method and not the get element by ID method as usual. Um, the hashtag bill amount is really a way to identify if it's a ID or a class, right? It's the same thing. It does the same thing as get element by ID. For me, it just looks better. But I got the value of all of those. Now, in order to validate the input, if the bill amount is empty, bill amount field is empty, and the service call field or variable is empty, then I want to first get, this is where the error handling comes in. So the first thing I want to do, error, nope, 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 no, no. Okay, error handling. So the first thing I want to do is I created a div element here beneath the input field. Where is the div element? Right. So I created a div element with an ID of amount alert that says, okay, let's grab. So what I'm doing now is just grabbing that, accessing that element, setting an attribute of um, class with a value of alert warning. And this can, because I've added the Bootstrap CDN, content delivery network link to it, I can now access all of the components of Bootstrap essentially. So created set an attribute with a value of alert warning, and I'll show you how that looks. Also, this needs to be a part of that the div element as well, the role attribute with a warning of alert. Then I've accessed the inner HTML property, and this is the message that I want the person to see if both the bill amount and the service call is empty. So this alert will appear under the bill amount input field, and this alert will appear under the service quality field. Let me just go to the web page to show you how it looks. You share. All right. So are you still using my screen? I confirm if you're seeing Bootstrap or Nyla make initiative. Oh, Boots. All right. Screen two. All right. Okay. So are you seeing Nyla make initiative now? All right. Cool. So if I don't enter, so these are my fields. If I don't enter anything, I select calculate, this comes up. I realize that each alert is specific to the input field, and also has some styling, so it looks nice, right? So that's the first. You're right. That's the first. So it's all bootstrapped, right? That's why it looks so nice. So that's the first use case for the error. The second one, and this is where I'm talking about the else if, is that if it is the case, and I'm using the JavaScript operators here, so this is and. So both this condition and this condition needs to be true in order for these instructions to run. The second condition, else if, is that if someone entered a bill amount, right? So if bill amount is equal, and this really means equal in type and value. This means equal in value. So if I enter 13 in there, we know that the value of the entry is 13, but we don't know the type. We don't know if it's a string or an int. But for this, for the third equal sign, it's equal in type and value. Now, if whatever is entered, right, up here, so, if so, this is this. So so I've created a variable and I said if this is equal to this, which is up here, so, then, and the service call is equal to 0, which means it did not enter anything, then you should represent this alert on the web page. So let me refresh and put in 13, so value is entered. So now it only appears under this because it run the check and it realized that, okay, then there's a value for the bill, which is $13, but there is no value for the service. So you still have to put in a, a value for the service. And how was your service? If you look at this, if the person said outstanding, then they're giving a tip of 30%, 20%, terrible 5%, right? So that's how it works in this case. Now, another else if, using another else if I say, okay then, so we have a scenario where the service call is 0 and there is a value for the bill amount. But there's also another scenario where are you seeing the code? You're seeing my code, right? Right, so there's another scenario where the bill amount is 0 or empty and the service quality is equal to whatever value they entered, right? So if I reload and I say, okay, then 30%, but I don't enter service call, a bill amount, and it only shows me, it only instructs me to enter a value for the bill amount, right? So that is what happens. Ignore this return for now. Of course, for this, if, all right, so if the number of people, because the other part is that the user is supposed to be able to enter a value for the number of persons. So if the number of persons entered is empty, or this is an or operator, or, so both does not have to be true, or both do not have to be true, sorry. If the number of persons is less than or equal to 1, say if we like 0 or 1, then you just assign the value of 1 to that variable. And then what you do is that you find the element with the ID of each, which is, let me scroll down. Here, this is the element with the ID of each, and you apply a style, you access the style property of this. Let's call it statement for now. And then of the style property, you access the display value or the display attribute, sorry, and you assign it to none, right? So, should I? All right. So this scenario is if both values are entered in the bill amount and this hours your service. So if I do that, I don't enter thing, so it's going to default to 1, and then you'll see this. So this is calculated, right? Because only one person. However, if it is more than 1, so else, if it is over 1, if it's greater than 1, then you apply a block display style to it. So if I say I'm entering qualify, calculate. So what it does now is that it applies the each value under the actual value per person. So that is the understanding. So if it's a case of only one person, then you don't apply the display. If it's more than one person, then you apply it, and you apply block, which is basically forming a new line under the actual value, if you're following. Following? All right, cool. Now, after all that is said and done, we finally get to calculating the tip. So I create a variable of total, bill amount times the service quality, because remember, service quality is represented as a percentage of the bill amount divided by the number of persons. After you've done that, then you can round the 2 decimals if you want. This is just some config, not so adding some what do I call it? Additional calculation states. So you don't want too many infinite number of decimals You just round it to two decimal places. And then the next line allows us to have two digits after the decimal place, basically. So you can use it to fix functions. So you fix it at two decimals, and then you calculate the final calculate total. Now, this total is actually the tip amount. So what you'd have to do now is say, okay, um, now that I have the total, the tip amount, sorry, what I want to do is calculate the total and total including tip equals, let me just say var equal bill amount plus, what is this? The total, which is tip. I'm gonna change it, but I just want to show you something. So now I have the total including tip, right? So this is what they call debugging, because actually I forgot to just add that. So let me just do this. Let me see something now. All right, so it does it. So all I would have to do now is just to add this to it, and then I will get the total including the tip. So the total including the tip is $139.90, right? So that part, I'll show you how that part works. So now we have the tip. So we have the tip. Probably should just change this to total tip for proper naming convention, proper naming. And then let's add bump. And let's reload. See if this is working. Ah, and debugging total is not defined at 66. Um, total is not defined at 66. Okay. It does. Oh. Hmm, 68. No, that shouldn't be the issue. This is something. All right, so I'm calculating the total here. If I do this, so this is the total. Then it's telling me to, mm, no, 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 no. Let me see something. So total, this is supposed to be the total tip, right? Um, total tip. Then you fix it to two decimal places. Ah, yeah, there you go. So that's working. So total including tip, bill amount plus total tip. For down here now, it is saying, look, basically this has to do with displaying the tip. No, not the tip, the total including tip. Sorry about that. Total including tip. And let's change this to update something. Um, total plus tip. calculate. All right. So what this is basically saying is that if the bill amount is zero and the service quality is zero, right? Empty and zero, it don't display anything. It don't display anything. If it is the same construct or scenario, if it's equal to, if they enter the bill amount but not no service qual, which is the tip, a percentage of the bill amount, don't display anything. If they don't enter the bill amount but enter the service qual, don't display anything. And else, which is the last scenario where they enter both, you would display the total including the tip. So bam, bam, 132, that's 60. If I enter more than three per, then the cost per person would be 100 and hold on, that makes sense. When we compare, let me see what's happening here. Bill amount divided by this number of persons times the service cost. Uh, all right, it is right. It is because if you get the bill amount is $13, and then uh, real-time debugging. So 13 divided by 1, bam. Then it, no, that should be the case. Sorry, 13 multiplied by 0.20, bam. And it divided by, how many persons did I divide it by? 23 persons. Wow. 23, that's that. Then you add, do you add? Then you add, okay. So, all right, so I made a mistake. I made a mistake. Jordan, can you identify which mistake I made? You were following. It's something that I did that you should be familiar with. All right, so if you look at the value here, right? I go back to here. I said 13, so it's supposed to be 13 times 20% divided by 23, right? And that gives us this, right? Then it's supposed to add the tip plus the amount of money that right. So tell me what I did wrong here then. You should be familiar with this problem, you know, because no, that's not the decimal. So adding 13 plus this supposed to give me what? Okay, right. So I'm concatenating and not right. Exactly. So I actually made the same mistake that I was talking to you about a while ago. So I now need to fix. Um. So where should I? Which part should I fix? So it calculates the total here. I could just convert this. I could just convert total tip to an int. Let me go for that. Converting. Converting. No, 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 no. Converting. So, all right. So now that you know how to convert a string to a int, tell me how you do it. So guide me. Or should I look it up myself? All right, cool. All right, G. So where would I put that? No, I could just put it right here. So I'll have to change everything from there. Okay. The total tip to int equals parse int from the variable would be total tip from 10. Right? Then what I would have to do now is do this console of that, do a type of as well. Uh, Let me see if I'm doing the right thing. Never console log type. No, so now it's a number. Let's do the same. Well, it's 30, is it 20%, right? 23 people. Ah, should have given me this. Why did they give me this? Should I parse bill amount as well? I think bill amount was the issue, you know. All right, let me parse it here. Try again. Uh, it's still giving me 130.11. Why? Why is it giving me that? Still with me, Jordan, as I try to parse this one. Okay. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just parse it from here to see what happens. Okay, whatever you get, you get. Let me just console log type of. All right, so what? It's a number, right? So why is it concatenate? They're all numbers. So why is it doing that? Mm. Yes, indeed. Indeed, it's difficult. Um, I said, we know that this is a number. Service call. Let me see if, let's see if service call is the issue. So let's parse service call as well. No, hold on. I know what I right supposed to be. All right, let's see if this will work. Ah, shit. Still never work. All right. So let's try past service call and see what's happening. All right, all right, all right, all right. Um, I did. So, all right. So let's go back to, let's remove that. Let's do this. Save from, from, from. All right, so it's still giving. So we know that this is a number now. So here is a number. So, so what is it? All right. So this is a number, right? Because this is here. So it's a number here. Then service call is 0.02, but it's 20%, so this is calculated as well. Then we console log the bill amount. This is what? 68. 68, 68 is what? 68 is the total, right? The total, 68 is the total, we be calculating on the tip. Why is above this? Okay, that's the total. The tip, calculating the tip, right? So the tip itself is, hold on. The tip itself is point blah blah blah. Then 74, which I console log, is supposed to be a number. So where did I actually go wrong here? Total tip 76 is supposed to be what? 76 is 0, or why is 76 0? 76 is supposed to be 0. Okay, let me try something. Not a number. But in any case, it shouldn't matter. So if it's 0, right? It should just be 13 then. Or 0. It should just be 13, right? Because it should just be 13.11, so it shouldn't even matter. The 68 is the total. 68 is the total here. This is the total. Then, all right, let me just uncheck, comment it. 76 is not a number. Total, 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 total. something here. Say for me the wrong item. So 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 it's 76 first int type of is number 76 is 0. Then you say put to digital whatever. And you pass this. Bill amount. Then pass bill amount. Okay, so I already say it should be an issue. So I don't need to pass it here again. Save. Let me see. Ah, there we go. Um, so we shouldn't actually be parsing. Still with me? Jordan? All right, so we should add for the tip, we shouldn't actually be parsing with an int. We should be parsing with a float. So we put parse float JavaScript parse float function. So you just put parse float in it. So where did did I parse up here? So no, we never parse it. Just the tip part we need to parse. So tip float. Um, Parse it as a float. Put the total in there. Save. Go up here. Three. Ah, there we go. So we can round this up to 2 decimal places if you want, but oh, yeah, right. So we can parse it up to 2 decimal places if you want. Um, but yes, that's basically it. So let's go back to if I've not lost you as yet, you can ignore these here. All right. So here you can ignore this. Can ignore here, so but this is where you actually so the call function, right? So you want to represent this. I took it. This is what 113. What did I do wrong here? Okay, we're good, right? So you want to represent the amount below the button, right? And you can add some styling to it. So what you need to do is call or access whatever element with the function with the ID calculate, and then use event handler, which is on click. So once a person clicks this button, it will call the function. It will call the calculate total amount, including tip function, which we created previously, and it will execute and represent the amount below. So 13, 20, 23, bam, right? So 23 persons, each person is supposed to pay 13 point something something. $13 and point some cents each for the whole bill. All right. To pay for the whole that dinner. And that's basically it. So there are other stuff we can do. But that's my own calculator. I'm going to add some more stuff to it. And if you want access to the code, then just let me know. But you can just put it up on none of those live code editors on the web and you can access it. So let me know if you want access to the code to go through it. All right, no problem. And you can just, do what they want with it, improve it, whatever the case may be. But yeah, do you have any questions? All right, we're good. Stop share. All right, no problem. What I want to do, Jason, I don't know if you're up for that still, but more actually take a screenshot of myself and you with our videos on, because I'm trying to create content. For we actually have a Twitter and an IG page, so I'm gonna send you the links for you, like the pages. Try to up the following. Slowly but surely. We not really look for followers. We just get a hype, but we actually are trying to just grow the community online as well. So if you don't mind enabling your camera, or that's not possible. All right, lovely, 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 lovely. So just log into it. All right, so I'll be waiting. Sorry about that, chat. Yeah, you hear me now? All right. Your voice kind of low still. But I'm going to screenshot it nonetheless. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so we basically I try to grow the following. Um, all right. So let me just save this. All right. So it's Jordan and Nyla. Hold on there. Keep that smile. Don't stop smiling. The first one, you screw. Hold up on that smile. All right. Yeah, man. That's what the thing was it, man. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So we'll go the following. I'm going to post in the group. So you guys can start. Whenever you want, just ask them to start follow the thing. Off the bat, to be honest. Because I say, yo, people need to want to follow and not just a follow because you give you a strength. So, um, so I wanted to provide some value first, and then after that, no, request that you follow us. So you'd have gotten the value and say, so there's a community thing where I try to build up. You know what I say? So yeah, so I'm gonna drop in the group. You can just follow it, tell your friends if they're interested in stuff like this. They can follow some more content as well. And yeah, but you seem like you're really committed to the thing, and I really appreciate that.
because you're here. Even when I just me and you alone with you there. So, so, so we're glad you're really committed to it and everything. And I will definitely upload. So there's a website called Coding. Let me try to find it. Code Pen, right? That's the word I'm looking for. So there's a website called CodePen.io that I'm going to upload what I did on. Then I'll send you the link and you can go in and edit it and download it and everything. You get me? All right. So that's basically it. Um, so I'll be posting some stuff in the group. What I will do is that I want to have another make session, right? Where same thing, you just get something for do and you try to build it. Right? Because I feel like did you learn some stuff from this? Like is this particular session like really, really valuable or was valuable to you in terms of your understanding and stuff like
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it gives you exposure to know what to do and what to look at to
that?
find out.
Yeah, right.
Especially the parsing. Not,
Mm-hmm.
not first, like, get a problem, do it.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Hold up the mic. Hold up the mic more to your so I can hear it.
This might not work. And give me
All right. I think you can hold up the phone because
more,
I can't hear you now, but it sound muffled. So is it the phone? You're talking to the phone, right?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I continue. Continue. It's fine.
Yeah, so I was just saying, yeah, I know where to find things. I know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't know, and now I can just Google and find out and stuff like that. Like, learning what I need to do is
Yeah. Exactly. So that's why I never want to give the answer for the parse thing, cause cause it's forced enough. Say, all right, there's no star. What me go? Because fundamentally, what is critical for you is for you to frame the problem properly. If you so the code not working, the first step is not to go Google and say why is my code not working? Because nobody can answer that, right? You need to understand, oh, my code is not working. Why is it that my code isn't working? What's the specific problem that is causing my code not to work, the specific bug. So the specificity of how you frame the problem is critical to solving it. So you now know that, okay, then the problem is that it's concatenating and not adding. Why is it doing that? Well, the reason is that concatenation works for strings, which would suggest that the values that are being entered are strings and not ints or numbers. So how do I now convert these strings to ints? And the how to convert strings to ints is what you're supposed to type in a Google. You get me? I try to say? Yeah.
come up. And there remember, if there are input file, input field for number,
Right.
like text thing, I know.
No, I'm not hearing you.
So is there input, you have input radio, input text.
Right.
So is there one for number? I just have to find that. Like I use the text.
The thing is that you could there's a so you have the input element, and I think the type attribute, you can use the type attribute to automatically convert it. So the input element and then you use the type attribute equal number. I think once you do that, then it's automatically converted to a number. But you can do some more research on it and let me know. I'm encouraging you to research. So do some more research on it to kind of understand. Okay, then if I don't want to be doing the parse float, parse in from the JavaScript side, could I do that from the front end side or the HTML side to ensure that any value that is entered is a um, int or number and not a string, right? But yeah, that's basically it. All right. So as usual, Jordan, it was lovely having you. Look forward to seeing you next week again. I'll post, give you updates in the chat, and all of this interaction between me and you will be on YouTube, so so without editing nothing unedited until we start make some money for edit them. You see me? So we link. Cool. Bless up, General.